All bad decisions start somewhere. This particular one started at 1 AM, scrolling online through boats for sale. Endless sea of white boats, fiberglass boats, wooden boats. Then, one stood out. She had been built in 1956 by the Burger Boat Company in Wisconsin, at the tail end of the golden American era, when wealthy men still commissioned beautiful things simply because they could. The first owner was a millionaire from the American Midwest, but like a lot of fortunes from that era, his didn't last forever. At one point, she drifted through the world of old Hollywood, with stories linking the yacht to Frank Sinatra. She then crossed oceans, and somehow, after 70 years of history, she ended up in a quiet marina in Essex. Welcome back, everyone. If you've watched the last few videos, you'll know we've finally started tackling the roof on the boat. The goal is simple really, stopping any more water getting inside and destroying the interiors while we wait for the steel hull work to begin. The problem is, nothing on a 70-year-old yacht is ever simple. Underneath decades of paint and repairs are layers upon layers of old top coat that all need removing before we can expose the original fiberglass properly. So the whole roof can eventually be re-glassed and finished the right way. The only issue is it's taking an unbelievable amount of time, days of grinding, scraping, sanding, just to clear a few square meters. That hasn't been easy. However, the big Makita angle grinder and the big flat concrete grinding disc is doing a marvellous job of getting all this top coat off. And essentially what we're doing, we are exposing the original fiberglass so that when we re-glass the roof, it's got something decent to stick to. You probably can go over the old top coat, but it won't be as good. And if I'm doing this boat, we might as well do it properly and spend as much time possible rather than coming back in the future and having to redo it. And the other option would be to go over the top of the roof with OSB and then just stop before it curves down. But I think doing that, you'd lose the original shape and lines of the boat. And this boat was designed in a particular way to look like it does. So I think we're doing the right thing. And it's quite good because now we can sort of see below the surface and what actually needs doing. So there's a few areas which the wood needs cutting out and replacing. So there's a section there, there and there. And that's where the water's got in over the years and rotted the wood. So if you look down here, you can see actually the areas where the fiberglass has sort of detached from timber below. And that's because water's got in there. It's damaged the wood, rotted it essentially. And then the fiberglass has lost its sort of adhesion to that timber. And if you listen, so what we're going to do, we're going to cut out sections and replace that with new wood. And that would be really easy to do. What we'll do is we'll router the edges at a shanther and then do the same to the wood that goes in above, so then it sort of keys in really nicely. We can mastic it, make sure it's completely level, and then when we go over it with the new fiberglass and epoxy, it will just be completely waterproof. And this has been keyed so well that now when the new fiberglass goes over it, it's really going to stick. So as soon as this whole roof here has been redone, what we're going to do, we move on to the wheelhouse roof. It's not as big, it's a lot smaller, and it doesn't look like it's in too bad condition. So we'll do the same thing, we'll grind it back to the fiberglass and then we'll re-fiberglass it. New top coat. And what I'm going to do is replace a lot of these old radar systems for brand new domes. There is two, so one could be for weather and one's for obviously object detection, things like that, or one is redundant. I think Garmin do some really good new systems with some really decent plot chart displays and things like that. So what we do, we'll keep obviously the original horn and searchlight and the mast mount, which needs to replace this mast because it's completely rotten, but that won't be hard to do because it's very small. And then there's one more roof above the dining room, so that's not too bad. It's just all the timber on the front of that where the portholes are is a bit rotten. So I need to find a carpenter to help me with that. So if any carpenters out there in the area of Essex or the UK who wants to come and do some work, drop me an email. Obviously it's paid work, but finding the Burmese teak is going to be an absolute nightmare because this boat is, well, there's tons of it on this boat, and you can't import it anymore. So it'll have to be either something that looks like Burmese teak or it's just teak that we can sort of try and match the colour somehow. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video.